your shot. So it depends on what the designer is looking for, but there's a sort of good enough balance. A lot of imports also coming from China, of course, in terms of fabric, especially printed fabric, because they have more, I think I would say, they're a bit more diverse in what they can be able to create at affordable prices for upcoming designers.
Right. Let me ask, in terms of people just appreciating the kind of, locally produced kind of fabrics, how is that for the market itself? When you say somebody, you tell someone that, by the way, this one is Kenyan produced and this one has been gotten from China or it's been imported. Which one are they likely to choose?
I would say the thought right now, if you look at the industry, is not so much where it's from. I think the trend in the fashion industry is more around sustainability. So if you say that this has been made through sustainable practices, this we don't really know, then they will hinge towards the ones that have been made through sustainable practices. Very few people know where the actual fabric that they're wearing comes from. So I'm not sure it would be it won't be a consumer buying decision, but the fact that the person that created the apparel, the piece of cloth, is a local designer, that would influence the purchase, not necessarily where the fabric came from.
Fred, let me come to you in terms of looking at how this industry gets to contribute to the general economy. Where would you place it?
As at now, the contribution of the textile and garment industry about between 0.6 to 1%, which is about 15 billion, between 15 to 25 billion. But it's projected to actually increase, considering the measures the government are actually putting in place, the support they're getting through the agencies, and then the promotion that they're doing. So it's projected to be costing about 200 billion, I think, between now to 2027.
Let's get to these measures. What are these measures that have been put in place in order to support the industry?
Number one, they have the Kaproba. I don't know if they have the Buy Kenya, Build Kenya initiative, which has been striving, and then it's coming up very well. We'll be having them again at the ATW to be talking more about that. So those are just one among the many that are actually put in place.
So the Buy, you said Buy
Kenya, Build Kenya.
Buy Kenya, Build Kenya.
Yes.
It's been picking up.
Yes.
A lot of people are getting to appreciate that.
Of course.
I've been seeing a lot of made in Kenya, people get to buy that and that. So you say it is contributing generally very greatly to the economy itself, right?
Yes.
Okay. So in terms of government support, I know, sometimes it gets a little bit tricky, but in having this conversation, do you believe that stakeholders in the textile industry and leather industry get to be involved to have this conversation on, policies that we're going to have in place so that we make sure that the industry actually grows?
Yes, I do believe so. I think in the recent weeks we've seen some activity from our Principal Secretary of State Industry, Mr. Juma Muhwana, who will also be gracing the event on the first day. So one of the things that he's been advocating for recently, he had a visit to Rivertex, Rift Valley Textile, also participating at EATLW. So one of the things that he highlighted was a 600 million grant from the government to modernize the facility. As at now, Rivertex exports to the US, but they do not have the accreditation. So the government has actually injected funds to ensure that this can happen. They can get the accreditation to allow them to explore markets in the US, Germany, and Europe.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that is great. Let me come to one of the issues that I'm a little bit political because I do controversial sometimes. One of the issues that was the subject of debate, especially in the run-up to the 2022 elections, was the issue to do with mitumba and that's second-hand clothes. What threat does this have in the textile industry here in Kenya? Let me come to you.
So first, when you talk about the textile industry, I think we should also, it's not just about the Kenyan market and the people that wear clothes that are made in Kenya. Because if you look at the EPZ and EPZA, for example, they export 95% of the garments that they actually make. So